What's going on, son? It's nothing. It's just I have to write a report on Joseph Stalin. I was supposed to read this book, The Last Days of Stalin, over the summer, but I didn't do it, and now I don't know anything about him. What do you say we take a trip in the old time machine and take a look at the man Joseph Stalin was firsthand? Look, Dad, there he is! There's Joseph Stalin! Yes, son, but remember, Joseph Stalin was a bad, bad man. Well, what did he do? Well, for starters, Stalin used anti-Semitism to control the Jewish population and expand his powers. You see, on November 20th, 1952, 13 people from the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia were convicted of espionage and treason against the Soviet Union. 11 of them were Jews. Better known as the Stalin trial, this was when Soviet policies took an openly anti-Semitic turn. Soon after the Stalin trial, a new anti-Semitic campaign took shape in which a group of Jewish doctors were arrested for conspiracy to murder Soviet officials and start a nationalist revolution. The doctors' plot worsened relations between the Soviet Union and Israel and made anti-Semitism an overt, obvious part of Soviet policy. After the death of Stalin, the case was ultimately dropped because it was declared to have been completely fabricated. Finally, as the state turned to full anti-Semitic arrests and profiling, rumors emerged about Stalin planning a full deportation of Jews out of the Soviet Union. Although never fully confirmed, multiple sources corroborate that before his death, Stalin had began to put in place measures to rid the country of all Jews. Wow, Dad, I had no idea. How could a man be this awful? It's hard to say, son. Some people just have hate in their hearts. What else did Stalin do? Stalin was an authoritarian dictator who, in the time leading up to his death, conspired to stage a new purge of leadership within the Soviet Union in order to ensure absolute power and command for himself. Stalin sought to accomplish this through the slander of potential heirs. Initially, he would point out his comrades' flaws with leadership, however, his attacks soon increased. He verbally attacked 3 longtime associates, Molotov, Mikoyan, and Voroshilov. He called Molotov untrustworthy and accused him of following under American influence. He moved on to further denounce Mikoyan and Voroshilov in the same speech. Anyone who disagreed with Stalin or posed a threat to him was an enemy, and he did everything in his power to silence them. Stalin used fear to maintain absolute power. He was an authoritarian and dictator to the fullest extent. It is said that after a meeting with Stalin, no one ever knew if he would return home alive. I can't believe a man would just turn on his friends like that. It's sad, but oh so true. You know, I read online that he died March 5th, 1953, and that's only a month from now. What happened when he died? Now that's an interesting tale. Come, I'll show you. Stalin died alone behind closed doors in his personal chambers. As no one dared enter without explicit permission, he was left there for some hours to soak in his own urine. When word spread of his death, foreign nations did not know how to react, and their responses varied country to country. Following Stalin's funeral ceremony, the state kept up the appearance of grief, but their love for him was no more than a facade. In the days following his death, reports and articles of Stalin dominated the news. But 6 days after his death, non-Stalin-related news made it back into the papers. It only took 15 days until the state failed to mention Stalin entirely. Leadership looked for more progressive policies and reform, and they began denouncing the crimes and actions of their previously glorious leader, Joseph Stalin. You see, son, Joseph Stalin was evil through and through. Thanks for taking me on this trip, Dad. Now I can write a well-informed paper or video essay that should merit an A for all the hard work I'm going to put into it. No problem. I'm just glad you now know the horrors and atrocities of Joseph Vissarionovich Stalin. dictator of the Soviet Union and responsible for the lost lives of over 20 million people.